Well, hello.
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 Hi.
Hi.
So, and hello to you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Say everybody say hello to Petra, the
Yes.
the pee girl
Yes.
poodle.
Sweet.
Ah,
Yeah, she's a mommy's girl, and she's always wanting to be on my lap. So
that's perfect.
yeah,
A bit of
comfort.
unconditional love there, Trina. A bit of unconditional love.
Yeah. But she's a lot.
Ah,
Uh, welcome everybody. Welcome to Hegemony Revealed. I think that's just kind of is. Am I the intro person now? Is that my job?
It's. I
Okay.
don't think it's your job, but you do it beautifully. So,
I know.
All
I
right.
love it.
Well, welcome to Hegemony Revealed with my lovely co-host. I'm Trina Casey, and we have Garry and we have Shahana, and we are here to bring awareness to all things that they would like to hold in the dark.
mm,
To set
Love that.
and our goal is to set everybody free to have their grand awakening, as I always say, and hopefully some healing along the path. But we'll see what happens. Who wants to start off? I know you and Shahana had some very interesting things to share with the group today. So why don't we start with Miss Shahana?
Thank you. Thank you, Trina. And happy to be here. Delighted to be here, actually, with both of you, holding the space, holding the energy, and shredding hegemony to bits. So, I've been reading, or rather rereading, this book by James Bridle called Ways of Seeing or Ways of Being. What is it? I keep confusing the name because both the names strike me as so important that I keep confusing the name.
Hmm.
Ways of Being. And I just wanted to refer to the book in the context of artificial intelligence, which seems to be dominating the world today. And we've spoken about AI before.
mhm.
And you know, Trina and Gary, and anyone out there, AI has been promised, or rather, being developed with a lot of promises of productivity and efficiency and generativity and all kinds of creativity made easy, call it what you will. Basically, in one sentence, it is a propagandist for hegemony.
Mhm.
AI will simply exacerbate the power of hegemony, and that is how this book begins with. It
Mm.
gives absolutely stark and shocking examples of AI companies, or rather, huge companies investing in AI, Microsoft, Google, even Amazon, along with oil rig companies like Repsol, to rip apart, absolutely rip apart pristine lands, pristine landscapes in the heart of wherever they can find, in the heart of wilderness, irrespective of who they are harming, what they are harming, and why they are harming, all to dredge out that last drop of oil from under the feet. Because that for them is what profit is. It doesn't matter. And that's how AI is being used to trace more efficiently, more effectively, where oil can be found under the pristine, beautiful mountains, villages, dams, rivers, forests, and wildernesses. So, and you know, Trina, when you said no, no, and you're firm, and you said it so beautifully. This book begins with the story of a Greek village which is
Mhm.
putting up no signs, no written in Greece, everywhere. that the anti-oil activists and villagers and communities are putting up that no sign all over the village
Mm.
to stave off the oil rig and the AI companies. Of course, they are not being able to do that. But you know what? These oil diggers and the AI people, they come in unidentified vans, in
Mm.
unidentifiable clothes, in the dark of night. And they vanish the moment they see journalists or activists around. Honest people wouldn't do that, would they?
No, never. I'm
And that's what AI is doing to us. And that's what AI is being propagated for by the Silicon Valley and the monarchs of Silicon Valley and the technocrats of Silicon Valley. So AI for the future is here.
it's been here for a while though. It's been
Yes,
here
of
for a
course.
while.
Yes.
Yeah. They just they decide when they want to drop the bomb.
Yep.
They warm you
Yes.
up, they
Yep.
lubricate everything. I thought that was a good analogy because of oil.
Yep.
I'm just I'm just over the fact the unsustainability of everything. I'm just over the unsustainability of it. The pure greed. It was never sustainable. What's
Yep.
dead should be left in the ground.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why we
And
have so much instability now.
and the tragedy is technology by itself developed from a place other than that of profit could have been different,
Mhm.
could have had immense potential to connect, to heal, to build
Mm,
communities, to build infrastructures of collaboration and imagination.
mm.
Instead, what do we have? The wonder kids of Silicon Valley destroying the planet. Amazing, awesome. Slow clap.
I love your spice today, Shahana.
Yeah, me too. I lo-
Woo! Passion, baby, passion.
it's-
I, anything that destroys the wilderness, anywhere I see an orangutan clinging to her baby and falling from the tree, something goes something goes off in my mind.
All I see is stupid. Stupid.
Do you know something though, Trina and Shahana? For me with this as well, and I think you've both spoken so eloquently about the practical extraction, the practical hegemony that's applying in the ground, ripping up, the earth. I say many times, I work, I'm in the middle of this belly of the beast. What's so interesting is so often people don't realize it's exactly the same process to our spirit, to our soul, to our minds.
Mm,
And it's that
mm,
that separation from what's happening out there to what's happening in here. That's the opportunity, as hard as it might be for me to see right now for a lot of people. The more we come back inside, the more we make those different decisions outside, right? And I just see this, it's like rather than this regenerative, positive, healthy circle, it's that
mhm,
degenerative, fear-based accumulation. I'm okay, Jack, so I'm not going to think about anybody else thinking.
mm,
But I'm just so clear because I see people like us here. I see colleagues I work with who know it's not okay, who know it's wrong, but they are paralyzed by fear to speak up. The hegemony is so strong, it's so pervasive in everything that surrounds them that they don't have this space to get curious around what could another world look like? What could other worlds look like?
mm.
And I think as hard as it is, I want to come back to that possibility, the
Yeah.
possibility to connect head, heart, gut, inside, outside. And I'm just wondering, you always said about the grand awakening, Trina. I think we're part of that, right? These conversations are baby seeds as part of that narrative change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people, There are other people out there, they just don't have the platform or the voice. Like we talked about this before, the more money that's backed, the louder. But the louder the voices in the world. But another thing that is so pervasive with hegemony is they do all kinds of things to undermine movements for change. It's just been, whether it's with assassinations, whether with its disinformation campaigns, whether it's people who have been saying this stuff, not even 100 years, I would say 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay, people have been saying what we're saying, but you
Yeah.
get a handful of generational lunatics and psychopaths in positions of power, and they just literally assassinate people that have that say no more. This is not smart. This is killing the planet. This is going to kill the planet. Even then, it's ridiculous. It's and what it is that more people need to make more critical and conscious decisions about where they invest what they're what they are make or what they're given. You know, it has to be it has to be radical. You know, it has to be radical. And I think of, I think I told you guys I lived in Amsterdam for a while, and there was a story. We went to the museum there about a Dutch king who was a big old a-hole, and they literally, a mob came and literally ripped him apart and ate them, ate him. Now that part's gross, but they didn't like how he was ruling them with such impunity, which with such selfishness. They literally pulled him out of his seat of power. And I wish that we could kumbaya our way out of this, but I don't know. I think they really, um, I think they really hope that our inner um Buddhas will not fight enough to make a change.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out a way to do it, yet stay true to ourselves. And I think that's the conundrum. I think that's the hard part, because I don't believe everyone is violent. I don't believe everyone is a sin. I don't believe these false narratives we've been given through religion, even in science.
Oh, yeah.
I even science. At this point, I question everything.
Yeah. And and if you see the roots of the narratives that go way, like you said, Trina, thousands of years back, but just taking it back, let's say 1,500, 600 years. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what was that witch hunt all about? It was merely wiping out of women who were closely in touch with nature,
Mm-hmm.
because those in power at that time had already decided, through whatever enlightened means they had, that nature was to be a resource. And you have the great philosophers, men of course, talking
Mm-hmm.
about invading nature to know her secrets, just like you would invade a country, a land, or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And any woman closely in touch with nature, with healing abilities, were witch hunted, brutally massacred. Thousands were killed in that massacre.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, what was it? It was the seeding of the narratives, beginning with separation from nature, beginning with individualism of each human. So
Mm-hmm.
you have atoms of humans separate from each other, no sense of community, no sense of belonging, completely fractured, fragmented, polarized.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment you have one sole individual pitting against other soul individuals in an artificially constructed social competitive race for God knows what, you've got a recipe for disaster, because no one even has a sense of belonging or community. It's everyone out for himself, and that's what exactly hegemony wants. So the
Mm-hmm.
moment we come together in movements, slash it. Labor unions, kill them, because unions, any kind of unity, is cannot be allowed to exist
Yeah.
under the eyes of the big brother, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Got a nice comment here, Trina and
Yeah.
Shahana, from Trisha. Good to see you, Trisha. I
Hey,
just think
Trisha.
Hi.
what a brilliant hegemonic busting practice. Eh? The desire for office should immediately disqualify anyone from occupying it. What a
Absolutely. I love
brilliant,
that.
brilliant statement.
That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I posted earlier with some gentleman who was talking about a philosopher, Giel or whatever, but he was talking about this sort of compartmentalizing of social structure. I said, when you go immediately to that, that's when you know you're on the wrong path. Nobody is a class, nobody is a box. We are all the same, unified, unique only by our creativity and by the things that we create. But as far as fundamentally, there should be no upper, middle, or lower class. There should not be a segmentation of anything. Part of the problem is that everything is compartmentalized and divided for profit. That's the problem. You can't profit off of unity, but you can profit off of segmenting things out and creating a higher value for this or that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is more precious. You know, diamonds, in which they went over and just dug up the ground, are worthless in comparison to other gems like emeralds and rubies. There's a ton of diamonds available. There's nothing special about it. But the propaganda by the De Beers
Yeah.
made it seem diamonds are forever. Diamonds are in abundance. That's a piece of nothing. Don't waste your money. You know? It's a symbolic thing that could be easily a piece of glass.
Mm.
But we have a whole culture built around making nothing into something and getting people to believe that it's valuable and then forgetting about themselves. The most valuable thing there is value of yourself. Yet, we're looking outside of ourselves for validation all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Love that.
it's frustrating. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating having these conversations, and I don't know if it. I think it's honestly. I love that you brought up the witch trials because I really think it's uniquely a male. Sorry, Garry,
Mm-hmm.
deficit
Mm-hmm.
to seek outside for validation. Okay, we had to be oppressed into that state. We had to be enslaved to look outside of ourselves for validation. Look, I'm pretty.
Yep.
Look,
Yep.
my hair. Look, makeup. Look, like literally sold on the market with
And
dowries and things like that.
yep. Yep. And you know, you've brought up this really important point, Trina, about validation, because hegemony functions on people seeking external validation. That's how hegemony exists in the first place, the whole construct. Because if I am enough in myself, if I don't need that external validation, think of the collapse of the entire advertising, whatever, the entire marketing industry, the advertising industry, then we'll just go and get what we need. So
Mm-hmm.
they had to create artificial wants to turn soulful individuals into soulless consumers.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, why would anyone kill alligators for a bag? I mean, why? Why? Fur. I mean,
Half of the things
why?
that we have, we don't really need,
We don't
you know,
need. And
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 they
if you
don't
look at the
satisfy
roots of
us.
it, it's like ah, I wouldn't even use the word inhuman because I think humans descend into inhuman very, very rapidly somehow.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But just this wanting, thank you, Gary, but just this wanting to validate your own self with seeming, like you said, Trina, falsely created stuff that really has no intrinsic value in themselves. What is diamond? Just happens to be found in coal. Coal is actually much more useful, you know,
Exactly. Exactly. You know,
right?
it's yeah. Well, unfortunately,
Yeah,
the coal
coal is
industry
polluted,
is
polluting,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
But
at one time in India, that's all we had. Even I've grown up in a home where wood and coal were used to cook food.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Before we had I mean, we had electricity, but we didn't have electric cooking apparatuses. We
right,
used wood and coal.
mm-hmm,
A little bit of smoke, but that was okay because each household, we didn't own cars, we still don't. And I mean, things were balanced out. But look
mm-hmm.
at us now ripping apart the world like locusts for some external validation. A CEO wants to remain a CEO, never mind if he's destroying entire lands and polluting the whole landscape just to retain his power. But none of them have the spine to say, you know what, I won't be in this role if this is what is demanded of me. I would rather walk out and be a sane, decent human being. No goddamn effing CEO I've seen has that courage. Sorry. They are absolute cowards through and through, completely inebriated by the money and the position they have, nothing within themselves. All a straw man. Okay.
Get it
My,
out.
yeah, I'd love to add, if I may, Shana and Trina, because there's some rare occasions, just to reiterate the hegemonic way that things are happening in all these different beautiful layers, right? Emmanuel
Right.
Faber was the Danone CEO previously, and they were pointing towards a more genuinely regenerative way. They did want to change things, and what
Mm-hmm.
happened? He did not perform as the financial markets wanted, and he got ousted
Mm.
by activist investors.
Mm.
So even when someone does actually stand up to be counted, the current hegemonic system, if it doesn't make enough money through extraction, says no, and then extracts the person who isn't performing.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. We look at how many leaders, throughout the world really they were awake, and they were already speaking about the things that we need to do to change our world. Thanks, Gary, and change how we feel about themselves. The mind, body, spirit alignment. You know, it, identifying I think identifying those powers are essential.
Yeah.
And I think those powers have done a very good job. Oh, look at when I had long hair. Um, and I had black hair again. Um, they're it's essential to get those people out because they've been operating in the shadows. And some people are like conspiracy theory, conspiracy. How many conspiracy theories actually are coming to life right now? Everybody thought you were crazy when you're talking about aliens, but look at the United States just admitted there's
Yep.
aliens.
Yes.
Everybody's like, it's when people follow their intuition and their gut, all that encoded. You said this one time before, remembering is already there. Gary said, you said remembering. It's already there. We just have to trust in our own innate wisdom. And we are like every animal on the planet. We have instincts. If we allowed ourselves to be more guided by those instincts, things would flow better. We've got people in charge of this world that are so single-minded, that are so, I want to even say evil. I don't really believe in good, bad, but there's a malevolence. That's the word I want to say. There's a malevolence that supersedes anything in their mind. It's fear of being inert, fear of not mattering. At the top of the food chain, you'll is the biggest megalomaniac, insecure, fear-based tyrant. And then it trickles down. If we, as the people, unfortunately below, resisted the trickle-down effect, and we do that by waking up and saying, I don't need that. That's BS. I'm good just the way I am. I love myself. I love my family. I can act in that way. If we could just resist feeding into that and comparing ourselves to other people, they would be done.
Yep.
They would be done. But we have too many, unfortunately, males that feed into the patriarchal status, and they cut their own members off by doing it. Life expectancy, stress, heart attacks, strokes, all of this are the physical manifestations of that greed and what it is to be a man. Gary?
Perfect segue. Perfect segue. We've got a few comments I'd love to share, right in line with what you just shared, Trina. And I want to say as well, as a white man with privilege sitting in the UK, I wouldn't have been in this conversation with Trina and Shahana 7-8 years ago, because I wouldn't have been safe to be in this space with Trina and Shahana. Why? Because I live such an outside-in view of I'll be okay when, salary, job, status. But the freedom that I feel by letting go of all of that weight is unreal. And I just want to invite anyone that watches this back or live, connect with Trina, who does a lot of work around this EQ, inner work. You've got Shahana, who's a regenerative writer, instructional designer, doing a lot of regenerative OD work with clients. We're here to chat, but we're also here to serve this new world with new narratives. If you want to reach out to either of these people or myself, please do. But back to the comments for a second, right in line with what you just shared. Joseph, need has been turned into greed. The current structure, I love that. Current structure, socially engineering, subdue nature into their own image, and they forget nature tends to fight back. Exactly what you just described, Trina. Thank you, Joseph.
Love that.
Power stuff. Two more quickly, and then we'll have a wrap up. Fiston, who's joined us. Good to see you.
Hi.
And it's great to have the younger perspective, right? Fiston, somebody in their 20s.
Yep.
Just, when you're in your 20s and you can see what's happening with AI, that's where intergenerational dialogue is so damn important, right? I just think that's amazing. And then the last point, I want to just pop back to Trisha and get your final thoughts both. Trisha shares around CEOs have never been brave, grew up in true leadership, always make sure that those who are in need always receive the first kill, laws of the buffalo hunt. And wow.
Love that.
So let's maybe do a bit of a checkout round based on those last few comments and where we've explored today. Going to you first, Shahana. I would love to know where you're sitting, what you're feeling.
Feeling, yes, a tremendous amount. Yeah, but Garry, Trina, the more I see, like, and we, before you joined us, Trina, Gary, and I, we were just talking about the absurdity of the narratives propagated by the mainstream vis-a-vis what
Mm-hmm.
is really happening. So we are
Mm-hmm.
literally sitting in the theater of the absurd. And absurdity is, I mean, you can only see it through the lens of black humor and also grief. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, like you said, Gary, 7, 8 years back, these conversations wouldn't have been happening. And the fact that these conversations and pockets and nodes of such conversations are happening across the globe, and I'm certain that they are, and I'm hopeful that they are, is a sort of, it's like this little, you have these foggy marshes, and then you see these little fireflies popping up across the marshes. And I'm seeing these little fireflies popping up all over the planet. And
Mm-hmm.
and more that they connect, the nodes connect, they become like this web of life encircling the planet, no matter how hard the hegemony is trying. And they're really trying hard now because they can feel the collapse from within them. And I'm sitting with this absurd sense of the absurd, but also of gladness and hopefulness that we are creating spaces for those conversations and for what I call, emergence of the fireflies and sparks of light everywhere.
Right. That's beautiful. And I have a very cute story about a firefly. My very first husband was living in Montreal. His dad was just this adorable little person, and I had been a city girl all my life. So we had this little house in the country near Montreal, and I was in awe of seeing all these fireflies. I was like, "Oh, this is so beautiful, cool," because it was so pitch black where I was. And I love that analogy that just brought a sense of joy. It took down my rage a little bit because I do have a feeling of rage right now about what's happening in the world. But we are these little fireflies. We are these little sparks of and even though I do the work that I do, and I'm saying, self-love, we all have our doubts. Emotional intelligence is about experiencing the range of emotions. So I can say, yeah, I've got this rage right now because of the multiple things that I have to do caused by hegemony. So much pain my clients experience caused by hegemony. And I somehow have to find a way under the circumstances that they're in, under the trauma that they experience, guide them back to their knowing, guide them back to their sense of peace while still living in this perpetuated toxic cesspool that does not need to be this way. It's forced on us. It's forced on us. And so I hope that we are planting the seeds and we are the fireflies giving light. I want to invite people to try to do it collectively and more quickly. How, please connect with me and let's take money off the table. Okay. Let's try
Yeah.
a new path. Let's try a new path. Because if we keep operating in the same system, we don't get the needs and changes that we need. Okay. So touch bases with me if you are inspired to actually do it by all means necessary. By all means necessary. Let's stop just making it about money and and ego and all that stuff. We got enough of that. I want to hear, I want to do this. How can I help with the resources that I already have? How can I help? Because that's how this started. That's how this started. And I'm so grateful and I'm so proud of the work that we're doing, you know?
Yes.
And no matter how it started, it's continuing the way it should.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And thank you for bringing us back to this. It's easy to, and I think this is another hegemonic pattern, right? Is right, worry about just the now. It's only about the next thing you accumulate, the next conversation. Well, no, actually, it's about the whole body experience. It's like, wow, the first time I had Trina on to my very playful what was it, generative listening through
Yeah,
decolonizing the mind or something I made up, and Trina was like,
yeah,
I'll come on there with you, okay. And then there's the connection with Shahana through possible futures, and then he's like, should we do something? Like there never was, and there never has been a monetary exchange up front at any
yeah.
point in this generative journey,
Yeah.
and it's up to every one of us how we might want to offer and receive as we go alongside that.
Mhm.
But the power that comes out of every one of these conversations to me just gives me beyond hope a knowing. There's a knowing in my body, head, gut, body, that this is, it's not, I know it's changing because I'm changing because of it. That's to come back to I have changed through these first 11 conversations to the point, and you didn't know about this, Trina and Shahana, I'm about to start writing my first Substack with a specific focus on the extractive industries of which I'm part, directly trying to say, hey, let's have a different conversation. And guess what? These conversations are going to be a major part of how I try and invite that dialogue within the sector. And that would never have happened had we not have started this journey. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who's joined us. It's been really great engagement in the comments today. Thank you, Trina and Shahana. This went out live streaming onto Trina's LinkedIn, my YouTube, and a load of other places as well. And again, Shahana, this is a good example, right, of where technology can be generative and
Yes.
not
Exactly.
Yes.
abusive, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
And just to wrap up, we have built this tiny community, and I'm calling this community from the sense of communing with each other. And this this is a way possible because of technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Three
Mm-hmm.
of us in three different continents. And similarly, technology, if not perverted through the logic of profit and productivity and extraction, can be beneficially used. But it has become so deeply perverted that we forget that what it was created for, or rather what the promises were. And
Mm,
now we have, I don't know, technology has lost its way, is how I see it. We are
mm.
still here waiting for it to find its way back.
Well,
Silicon Valley has lost its way.
we're still looking for the real technology. To me, the real connection. Yeah, the real
I know.
connection.
Yep.
We'll get there. We're going to get there if we keep having these conversations. And just a reminder, Hegemony Revealed is now on Spotify and where you listen to
Ah,
podcasts.
that's
Thank you.
thank you for doing that, Trina. And do you know something just really hit me just then? Sorry, we're going to keep going, but not for long. When you just said real connection,
Hmm.
reconnection, re, same two letters
Yeah,
start both words.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Much love to you too. Much love everybody that joined. We are looking for guests.
Bye.
We've got a list of questions,
Yes.
or more reflective questions, shall we say,
Yes.
that are really just for you to reflect on, digest. If you're interested to potentially join us, let us know. Any one of us can send you the Google Doc. You can have a look through. It's not a case of us checking, are you right for the show? It's a case of you checking if you think energetically you are right for the show. We don't make any
That's
decisions. You make the decision. Does that sound about right, Trina? Shahana?
Yes,
Absolutely.
it sounds
Absolutely.
exactly right. And another thing that I really think is important, and I really want people who come on this show to understand, is we are a collaborative. I know that there is a kind of a mental bias that goes to Garry, the white guy is in charge. You got to stop that. Okay? This is not what it's about. None of us are in quote unquote charge. We do what each other can do to contribute to the community. Some people have strengths in one area, some people have strengths in others. We all have lives, we all have responsibility, we all have jobs, but there is no big boss of this group. So I'd like that to be the sense when you come into this. Include us all, or don't include any of us.
Yes, I love that. Thank
I
you,
love
Trina.
that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Reinforced 100%. By the way, there's so many strap lines now for the
I know. I was just thinking difference, convergence, synergies all together. That's
Amazing.
what communing is about.
It's just like literally, we're like, okay, let's go again. We're ready. Another 40 minutes.
Next session.
We just like talking to each other. That helps too.
I know.
That definitely does help. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Tricia,
Thank you.
Joseph, Fiston as well. Nice to
Fiston.
see you all. And yeah, have a great day. You two lovely humans. And we'll see some of you around soon. Take care, everyone.
Yep. Bye.
All the best.
Bye.